Hi there. We are live. All righty. So John Pace here with another episode of Rolling to Win. Tonight I am live with Heidi Nordlund, Dr. Heidi Nordlund. Um, Heidi is a certified Ayurvedic doctor. Hold on, I'm having some feedback issues here. Where am there it is. That's the feedback. Gotta hate that. It's always something with the stream, isn't it? So let's see here. All right. Dad blame it. Okay. Anyway, so Heidi is a certified Ayurvedic doctor, a yoga therapist, and intuitive healer with almost or over 25 years of experience. Originally, she's from Denmark, now based in Colorado. Heidi blends global wisdom with a holistic approach to health, emotional freedom, and spiritual renewal. She specializes in helping clients overcome chronic pain, stress, and anxiety while fostering spiritual growth. Is the founder of the Soul Renewal Academy. Heidi guides others on their journey to inner strength, balance, and soul alignment. You can learn more about her work at HeidiHealing.com, which is found there in the description. And without further ado, here is Dr. Heidi Nordlund. Hi, Dr. Heidi. How are you?
I'm doing very well. Thank you so much, John. Thank you for bringing me on here tonight.
Absolutely. No problem. So let's see here. Where are you located right now?
I'm up
And
in the Rocky Mountains in Colorado. Beautiful
okay, cool.
snowfall today here up in the mountains.
Nice. And
Mhm.
you're from Denmark, right?
Denmark, yes.
Mm,
Yeah, I came to Colorado to study 22 plus years ago, and I decided to stay. I've always loved the mountains, and here I am.
wow. Wow. That is incredible.
Yeah, it's far from home. All my family is back in Denmark, and we're making it work. I go back there once or twice a year,
Mhm.
and I have my business can work from anywhere in the world because I do a lot of work long distance. So that way it works out perfectly.
Okey-doke. I'm in a horrible feedback loop here. I cannot.
Okay,
We
so
are all mixed up.
I
So I wonder
uh,
why this is. All right.
mute and unmute and see what happens here.
Perhaps.
Is it any better? Yeah.
Mm, mm,
Let me.
mm. Let's see.
How how is it
Yeah, I
if
think it
I'm
is.
off camera? Is it better without the camera?
I think that I think it's on my end, something's going on, so I'm not really 100% certain.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. Let me know if we need to reboot or do something. There is a snowstorm on my end. We have had snow all day up here in the
It could
mountains.
just be one of these other streams that I have going, like, give me the feedback.
Is it not making a difference if I take my camera off? If I'm talking right now, is it still going on the echo or the
No, no.
feedback?
It seems alright. Let's see.
So it does go away when I take my camera off?
Well, I cut your camera back on because I think I had to cut the Facebook
Oh,
stream because it was
okay.
giving
Did
me.
the was that what it was? So it's working
Yeah,
now.
yeah.
Got it.
It
Okay.
was the Facebook stream, so
All right.
I don't know if I can get that one back on or not, but that's too bad. Let's see. It says we're live, but I don't think we're live on Facebook anymore. Boo. Yeah, it was live for a minute, but it was not.
Well,
Let's
in
see.
my world, everything is happening for a reason.
That's
So,
right.
so for whatever reason, it's not supposed to stream on Facebook, then then that is in alignment.
It sounds about right.
Our greatest
Okay,
good.
doke. So you've been doing this for over 25 years now. So, like, what has kept you so passionate about it?
My own freedom, my own journey of liberation.
Hmm.
The more I dive into exploring and experiencing and gaining greater insight about who I am truly, naturally, at the soul level that I am, the renewed passion is
Hmm.
there because then I gain a new chapter within my life and then I wish to share that.
Nice, nice. I can relate to that. Sort of the same thing here. That's kind of got what got me on the path that I wanted to help others as well. Was um, really I fell off a roof 6 years ago, broke my spine, and sort of had a whole renewal of life and spirituality and all that. But we're not trying to showcase me tonight. We want to talk to you. So you came from Denmark, right? Now, growing up with that culture, um, that's got to give you some kind of unique perspective on health and balance, right?
Some people would say so, yes.
Okay.
And I haven't lived in Denmark for 22 years. And before I moved to Colorado, I traveled a lot. I traveled
Mm-hmm.
for a couple of years around the world. And growing up in Denmark, I always had this urge to travel all over. And a lot of people in Denmark, because Denmark is so small,
Mm-hmm.
perhaps that has something to do with that so many people seek out to travel and move and do other things.
Mm-hmm.
But I can only speak for myself, and I really had that desire. So, but in general, a lot of people in Denmark in the past and
Mm-hmm.
still are more inclined to follow the footsteps of their parents and
Okay.
do what is more expected of them in the family.
Mm-hmm.
And I did that for a period of time before I started traveling. I was working with my dad within
Mm.
music. I thought I was going to be a music therapist.
Okay.
And then I read an autobiography of a yogi. Maybe you know that book by Paramahamsa Yogananda.
Hmm. I have not heard of it, but
An
yeah.
autobiography of a yogi,
Mm-hmm.
it's sometimes referred to as the Bible of yoga, the
Oh
yogic
wow.
Bible. It's an extraordinary book in many, many ways. And I read
I
that
was
book
just plugging that into
and
the chat. Sorry.
oh, good. Thank you. Yeah, it has a lot to offer. It's
Mm-hmm.
certainly not like the truth. A
Mm-hmm.
lot of people will claim that it is because they're followers of Yogananda. He brought the yoga meditation, the Kriya yoga meditation, he brought that from India to the
Okay.
States in
Oh, I
1920.
see.
So he has shaped the yoga environment and the meditation environment tremendously
Mm.
in the States. He
Okay.
really
Okay.
has. And
Now,
go ahead.
y- so, um, what is a yogi exactly? I guess that's sort of a So I don't really know. I've heard yogi this and yogi that, and then even that there are yogis with phenomenal mystical powers. Even so, I'm just kind of curious. What would yogi be exactly?
So if you go back to the Sanskrit the scholarly insight of the Sanskrit, a yogi is a male person practicing yoga, and a
Mm.
yogini is a female practitioner of yoga.
Okay.
And yoga translate as union.
Oh, I see.
And what is united in yoga is, for example, the body and mind, the
Okay.
body, mind, and breath, the
Mm. Hmm.
soul with the body.
Now, does that have to do with you're certified Ayurveda, and so you do that yoga and intuitive healing. So that's a lot of different systems. How do they connect? How do you connect the dots there?
Beautiful question. Thank you so much, John.
Hmm.
So each one of us is so much more than the mind and the body.
Hmm.
You just got done saying that you survived such a traumatic accident. And there is an inherent will to live.
Mm-hmm.
And the common thread within yoga, Ayurveda, spirituality is an exploration and experience of that we're so much more than this body and mind.
Okay.
That there is
Okay.
so much more than what the physical eyes can see.
Mm-hmm.
And when it comes to the sixth sense or the third eye visions, when it comes to gain greater insights and messages and
Mm-hmm.
intuition and synchronicities and things you cannot explain,
Mm-hmm.
then
Synchronicities, that's getting into some Jungian language there, isn't it?
maybe it just depends on what your experiences are. We
Okay.
all have experiences that cannot be explained. You may have a dream, and then the next day you experience parts of the dream. Or perhaps
Ooh.
you think of somebody, and then all of a sudden they call you. Or you call somebody up and they say, "Oh, I was just thinking about you."
Mm-hmm.
Or if you wrote a letter about certain things that you have a passion for and a desire for, and then in a few years later, or even just a few months later, all of a sudden it becomes your reality and you get to experience that. How is this possible? It is because there is more to life than what we just can see. And
Absolutely.
so that
Absolutely.
is a common, that is one thread. For me, that is
Mm-hmm.
what ties it all together. That's what makes it juicy and exciting
Sure. Sure.
to share the healing aspects of spirituality, spiritual healing, yoga therapy, Ayurvedic medicine, and
Mm-hmm.
help people realize that they are so much more than the body and mind, because in that
Mm-hmm.
journey, incredible healing is to be achieved.
Okay. Wow. So, um, in that, do you think maybe Western medicine is missing something that maybe the ancient systems like the Ayurveda have already figured out?
Yes. For me, it's a yes. I have deep
Nice.
respect for Western medicine.
Certainly.
My stepfather, my bonus dad, was a very fantastic surgeon. And so I
Okay.
grew up with how he saved lives on a regular daily basis. And if it wasn't for Western medicine, so many people wouldn't survive accidents
Certainly.
and acute emergencies.
Yeah. I mean, in my own case, like if this had happened, say, 100 years ago, then I probably wouldn't have lasted very long, for sure.
Yeah.
Considering all the problems that are associated with the spinal cord injury, from just being able to use the restroom on your own to the nerve pain sensations, but probably would have died of some sort of sepsis pretty early on. Which,
So
I guess that it's a great thing that I live in this day and age where the true modern science is it saved my life, and here I am today. So,
exactly.
and not only that, but managed to come out and thrive, which was difficult to say the least. Difficult to say the
Oh,
least.
an accident
So,
that interferes with your spinal cord like that is a really big deal.
oh, absolutely, and that's where a whole lot of my viewers are right there. They're all looking for that thing to help them get out of that victim mentality and get into the survivor, and even that, past that, to get into that life of abundance even. And I think that that's where we're all trying to get to. So, I
Yes.
mean, I'm
Yes.
absolutely fascinated with this Ayurveda. I had never even heard of it, honestly, until I started talking with you. So, I did learn that there are the three doshas, right?
Yes. Uh-huh.
So, um, how do you apply that to the real life? And just for anybody listening, the doshas are is it the vata, the pitta, and the kapha?
Yes. They are
Okay.
based upon five elements. So, for anybody that is familiar with Chinese medicine or Tibetan
Mhm.
medicine or yoga, you have perhaps heard the notion of five energetics, five
Okay.
elements. And
Mhm.
within yoga, we work with these five elements in the chakras, the energy centers that are lying present within the spine. These five elements in yoga: earth, water, fire, air, and ether or space.
Mm, mhm.
And every human body has all of these five. They're slightly different in Chinese medicine. They're called humors in Tibetan medicine. And it doesn't matter which system it is that you follow,
Mhm.
they are complete within themselves. So these in yoga and Ayurveda, these five elements make up the three doshas. So practically, in order to have a body, you have to have earth and water. This is what gives you the density in order to grow when you're young. When you're a baby,
Mm.
when you're a young kid, this earthy element, this heavy strength gives you what it takes to grow a body.
Okay,
Then,
makes sense. I mean, and if you look at the Christian Bible, man's created from dust. So
there you
so
got
very
it.
similar there. That's
Absolutely.
very cool.
Yeah.
Very cool.
It's
Okay.
all intertwined so beautifully when you
Mhm.
start drawing the connections between all of it.
Right, right.
Then, when teenage age starts happening, the hormones start bubbling. The acne comes,
Mhm.
the rebelling, the acting out, and
Mm.
all this. This is because the fire element starts becoming more on stage,
Okay.
and the water starts bubbling. The mud starts bubbling. And the
Okay.
fire starts becoming more and more prevalent as we age. And with the fire
Mhm.
element comes ambition, comes competition, comes a drive, comes aspirations and stronger desires. There
Mhm.
is a burning desire to to become something, right? And so as we
Mhm.
grow up, that gives us what it takes to study and succeed in our jobs and so forth. And
Hmm.
then we develop a career and we go about our lives. Then, as we age into the 40s, 50s, the Vata dosha, which is the
Mhm.
air and the ether, more subtle, comes more on stage. This is, in general speaking, where people become more interested in spirituality. They become more aware of the subtleties within the body. They become more
Mm.
aware of what the mind does and how powerful it is,
Mhm.
and that there is more to life.
Jung said that life begins at 40. Up until then, you're just practicing.
Right. There you go. And very practically, when the body dies, that is everything that it has to do with the Vata dosha, because the Vata is the air and it governs the breath. And why
Mm,
does the
mhm.
body die? It is the breath that leaves.
Mhm.
So, this is a very broad overview of how the general aspects of the doshas move through every person's life.
Okay. Wow. So, I guess in that you would figure the dosha that somebody is in life, and they're going to feel this and notice this. How does like where do you come in if they're say 40 ish? Like what are we looking at then at that point?
So, most 40-year-olds have some imbalances,
Mm, mm-hmm,
and it can be based upon substance abuse.
mm,
The different substance abuses are usually caused by excess doshas in the body. So, if there, for
mm,
example, is in a person's constitution excess pitta, that is often guiding a person into alcohol abuse. If there
Hmm.
is more of the earth and water with more of the kapha, there is a greater tendency towards smoking. If
Okay.
there is more vata, there can be more a tendency towards harder kind of drugs. That is
Hmm.
one example. So a lot of people come to get help with getting off their substances because they start realizing, wow, I'm aging, I want to live longer, and this substance abuse is in the way. And it's
Right.
any abuse is going to take its toll on the body and start catching up with a person with
Hmm.
inflammatory conditions or autoimmune conditions or mental issues or liver
Hmm.
problems or skin issues or whatever disorders are going on.
Hmm.
Any kind of disorder can be classified within the categories of the doshas. And so when a person comes to me and need help with finding balance and coming back home into wholeness again, we
Hmm.
look at, okay, what doshas need to balance? What needs to purify? What habits need to change and transform?
Okay.
And then
Right.
we have so many tools, herbs, cleanses, self care practices, oil treatments. It's really an incredible array of treatment protocols we have available because we also pull on yoga and yoga therapy and meditation. So we go into renewal of all the cells in the whole being.
Okay. Okay. So, is that sort of part of the diagnosis then? Like,
Yes.
so somebody comes to you, say, like, "Hey, look, I've just got this problem," right? And then, like, I'm a drinker and a smoker, and then sort of like, I guess it's what would you do at that point? Like, so I mean, I'm not personally, but let's say that this is what we're doing. Like, yes, I'm a drinker and a smoker, and I just really think there's more to life. Like, what would be sort of the next step from there?
Well, first of all, I would want to hear from the person that is coming to me, what are
Mhm.
they willing to change or
Mm.
try?
Mhm.
Because I
Mhm.
have thousands of protocols.
Right,
And
right.
intuitively, if a person is willing to go there with me, and if they don't really know what they're willing to do, and they're like, I don't know, and they give
Mm.
me permission to communicate with their all knowing self, I can
Mhm.
pull information that could resonate for that person's greatest good. And then I would ask, what do you think about adding this particular food in your diet? Would you be willing to change your diet to add this and then take this out? Would you be willing to try this instead of this? Would you be willing to take these herbs? Would you be
Mm.
willing
Mhm.
to do this kind of oil treatment in your self-care? Would you be
Mhm.
willing to practice 5 pressure points on your face that can help uplift your spirits so it
Mhm.
becomes a little bit easier to change a few things in your life?
Hmm. Okay.
And if
Yeah.
they say
Wow.
no, okay, well, then we go in a different direction. If they are local, they can come see me for hands
Mhm.
on treatments. I practice a Tibetan healing art that
Okay.
realigns the cranial bones so it becomes easier for
Wow.
a person to boost their confidence. When a person's circulation and blood flow works more optimally, the
Mhm.
confidence is boosted. And then it's easier to change.
Wow. Okay. That's incredible. That's just incredible. I mean, it's so much that I never even considered, like just in general. I know that I'm a big fitness guy into nutrition, so I know eating good food and staying active and working out, that is sort of the key to longevity as far as I know. But then you have these other things that you can throw in for even better. So um, I heard this story one time, and I think it's about the yogi who lived for thousands of years. Are you familiar with that story? Like,
Mm. There are different stories. Which version have you heard?
I see. Like, I only heard it just very in passing. Was like this one yogi lived for thousands of years, and he might have met Jesus and all kind of stuff, and taught Jesus some of the stuff. That's what I heard, which was mind blowing in and of itself. But then to hear that this guy may have lived for thousands of years, and then there was some proof to back it too. So, what is that story exactly?
Well,
If you're familiar
one
with it, I mean, I'm
one
not
perspective
going to
is
assume.
there is even books out there, and this may stir up some things for people
Hmm.
that view Jesus in certain ways. But there are
Mm.
books that speak to very greatly how Jesus was a yogi.
Mhm, mhm,
That the last years of Jesus, he spent some time in India and he learned some sacred practices that
mhm.
gave him the abilities to do
Raise
what
the
he
dead
did.
even.
Yes.
Right, right. Because this particular yogi was able to do that, like,
Yes.
from my understanding. That's incredible stuff. I mean, I think that we really need to be a little more open-minded about all these things because you have to think what happens over the course of 2,000 years is quite a bit. So,
Oh, yes.
in anything that would be relative, it seems like would be um very good information to have for a guy to make a decision nowadays as to what he wants to follow spiritually. And I think that my personal take on it is that Jesus had figured something out, and the I guess preachers of the day didn't like it because it kind of went against this control thought of like a sky daddy god kind of thing, and it kind of goes against all
People
that.
find the way to realize that they have everything they need, that
Hmm.
you have everything you need within you
Right.
to heal yourself, to experience your greatness, to manifest what is for your greatest good and the greatest good of all.
Mm-hmm.
If you realize all of that is within yourself, then nobody can control you anymore.
Right. Right.
And
Yeah.
there are a lot of leaders that are not really wishing that because they are benefiting from the control
Sure.
over others.
Sure. Sure. Yeah. Jung said that if you can't tell, I like a lot of Carl Jung, and
That's so great. I appreciate
it
it.
was sort of I developed a fascination with him and his archetypes initially, and then that leads to the self with the capital S, which is like you speak of. For to become a fully integrated individual, one must be in touch with all these things that make up the total self, not just the ego conscious mind that we walk around that is saying I and me all the time. Very
Beautiful.
interesting. So,
Absolutely.
what's your take on meditation? Like, is it as powerful as people say, or is it like just more about finding what works for you?
So let's just figure out when I talk about meditation,
Hmm.
in my world, from what I've experienced and what I've learned, meditation means those glimpses that you
Mm.
have where you feel the unity and the complete oneness with the greater universe or God or what you want to call it.
Hmm.
And there is
The
no
insert
thought.
placeholder name for God.
Yes, there
Right.
is no thought. That is the definition that is given in the scriptures, that a meditation is that state of mind where it is completely free and pure. There is no thought.
Hmm.
That is the samadhi state where there is unity.
Mm.
And now, many people will say that concentration, focus, visualization, guided
Hmm.
journeys, relaxation, breath consciousness, breath awareness, any kind of journeys, they will
Hmm.
categorize all of that as a meditation. So so it's just a little bit different. So I'm coming from the state, the ultimate state of meditation, where it truly is coming into the one state.
Okay.
the
Right.
oneness with the state of mind, with the greater consciousness
Hmm.
within and all around a person.
Mm. Kind of like we're all plugged into this sort of well of consciousness that has kind of given us our own specific little taste of it. Like, I was fascinated at one point with the idea that we're all the face of Shiva. That Shiva has to experience the universe as us because there's no other way he could have experienced it as us. And in that, like, I kind of drew the parallels between the Holy Spirit and Christianity, that all people have a divine nature inside of them to tap into. Um, and then I was hearing something about meditation where it's like you try to more extend your consciousness past your boundaries, instead of, a certain focus, but you become the room, and then you become the household, and then you become the town and the neighborhood, and sort of tap into all that. I mean,
Yes.
I've never achieved that type of meditation myself, but
Okay, let's do it,
um
because you can do it
okay.
in a split second and
Okay.
you're ready for it. So
All
let's do
right.
it. So close your
Certainly.
eyes,
Mm-hmm.
take some long, deep breaths, and put your hands down on your heart.
Mm-hmm.
Where attention goes, energy flows, and attention goes where there's touch more readily. So bring your attention down into your heart and take some long, deep breaths. And now get a sense that you have what it takes to connect with something that shines within you, that is like a bright, radiant sun inside your heart. And this light is shining up through your throat, in through your brain, and up to the top of your head. And then get a sense that in every breath, you have what it takes to move energy in your breath. And with your next inhale, you get a sense that you can shine your sunshine light from your heart all the way high up above you. Just get a sense that you're connecting with something really great. Whatever it is that you call it, God or divine light or ultimate universe or unconditional love or divine mother energy. There is something high up above you in an expanded state that you can connect with. It's like opening doors and light shines in. And you allow yourself to receive that light. You open your heart right now, and that light shines down from high up above you, from all directions, coming down through your head, down through your brain, down through your throat, into your heart, and lighting you up even stronger. And now get a sense that you can move your light down through your belly. You can heal all of your organs. You can improve your digestion. You can strengthen your entire GI tract. And you can wash away whatever fears, whatever worries. With your light, you have what it takes to dissolve all of that. And you have what it takes to shine your light down into your sacrum, your creative area of getting in the flow in your whole hips, your whole pelvis, and shining your light down into the root of your spine and getting a sense that you can connect down through the earth, deep down through your legs, knees, ankles, feet, and into the center of the earth. So you're connected, you're safe, you're grounding yourself, and you're connecting with this incredible earth, divine mother energy in the center of the earth. And there's an activation that happens there. And so now you feel connected above and below, deep into your heart in the center. Your heart is the center of all. This is where you get to make a choice every single morning. This is where you get to wake up every morning and decide, wow, this is going to be a great day. I am going to free myself from whatever I was unhappy about yesterday. Today, I open my eyes and I am ready to love myself more. I am ready to embrace myself in everything that I have experienced and everything that I am with so much more love. And as you start filling yourself up with this love and light, it becomes easier to take up the space. So get a sense right now. Just imagine that you have what it takes to connect with something bigger than yourself all around you. Just think about all of nature where you are. Perhaps if you're inside right now, just think of all of the nature outside of the building that you're in right now, all the trees, the air, the ground, all of nature, and connect with that. And as you are connecting with that, you get a sense, wow, I am bigger. I am able to take up the space. Wow, I am able to get some sort of experience that there is more to me than this physical body. I am an energetic being and I can take up the space. And when you're in this expanded state, it's so much easier to change your way of thinking. It's so much easier to change certain unhealthy habits. It's so much easier to activate your cellular intelligence. And when that activates, that moves you into an ability to heal. Your whole body goes into a healing mode, so to say. And when that happens, anything is possible. So just say out loud, anything is possible and I'm ready. Anything is
Anything
possible
is
and I'm
possible. I'm
ready.
ready.
Yes. So that's just a little glimpse.
Hmm.
So did you
Wow.
get any kind of
I
experience?
did. I did. I actually did.
Cool.
Yeah. No kidding. Like I was sitting here, I was all tense. And then like when you told me to move the energy down through my belly and my belly relaxed, I was able to breathe a little deeper. And then like I was out in the trees. That's wild. That is excellent. Yeah.
Doesn't take
Yeah.
much. We
Well,
are incredible beings, and
yeah, no
what we're
kidding.
capable of is magical.
Wow. So I kind of want to shift because I think that folks have got a lot of stress and anxiety. And then you do you're all about the emotional freedom, right?
Yes, very much
So
so.
in this world, stress and anxiety are really just sort of a part of life for most people. Um, how do you help someone break free from that cycle?
Yes. So first of all, a person, and if you're listening and you're going through some rough times, find someone that can hold space for you to share, to be listened to really be heard is number one.
Hmm.
To be given the opportunity to share and to be witnessed in that sharing is very powerful,
Hmm.
because every single person, you included, do have a special guidance within that knows. You have an all-knowing wisdom within. Call it spirit, call it higher self, call it soul, whatever you want to call it intelligence,
Hmm.
call it the Shiva consciousness within you, call it whatever you want. But there is something very special, and it knows what you specifically need to heal. And
Hmm.
often when you talk, you are actually giving yourself the answers to what you
Hmm.
need. But often it is projected outward. So if you are meeting somebody that is suffering and you are telling them what to do to help them,
Hmm.
if you start listening to your own advice to other people, a lot of
Hmm.
that advice is for yourself.
The projection, right?
So I listen,
Hmm.
and if people are so traumatized and so stuck that they just help me, that's all they can say. And they
Right.
give me permission to tap in to communicate with their parts of the body. This is where the intuitive activations, they come in handy.
Hmm.
When people give me that permission, then I can communicate with the liver, I can communicate with the heart or the lungs or wherever the imbalances are showing up. If a person, for example, is suffering from extreme depression, that is very common in November, December months,
Hmm.
and it's the darkest time of year in the Northern Hemisphere. And during these darker times, we basically just have to survive. But
Mhm.
there is a lot to be um, gained from practicing, practicing well. I have, as I mentioned earlier, I have thousands of tools
Right,
and
right.
techniques that I pull out to help people practice.
Certainly.
And so if somebody is, let's stay with stuck in depression, they
Mhm,
can, for example, be practicing an oil treatment where they apply some medicated oil up into their nose that goes
mhm.
into the brain and will stimulate the chemicals. It will balance the brain. It will nurture and nourish the brain.
Mm,
So
hmm.
often depression is an imbalance specifically in the chemicals in the brain.
Right,
And
yeah. Or
when
the
we
definitely the Western world thinks that. I think, like, I couldn't give you the statistics, but it seems like everybody's on Zoloft or something like that nowadays. So
So
many
there are
people
so
taking
many herbs
antidepressants.
that can supplement these
Mm, mhm,
drugs that have side effects
mm,
because with when it comes to chronic conditions like long-term depression or anxiety or chronic eating issues, digestive problems, skin disorders, inflammatory diseases, autoimmune conditions, the body has what it takes to heal it, but the
mm,
drugs suppress the imbalances so much that the body becomes numb and cannot heal itself. And
mm,
then
mhm.
we go into, oh, you're taking one drug, then all the side effects have to be dealt with. And then more drugs
Right,
come in. And then all of a sudden you're on some cocktail with a lot of drugs that are not supposed to be taken together. And then it just goes downhill from there.
sure, sure, yeah, yeah.
We have in Ayurvedic medicine an entire pharmacopoeia, just like in Tibetan medicine and Chinese medicine, where all of the herbs, they are having the inherent intelligence that awakens that within your body.
Works with you instead of against you.
Yes, thank you.
Right,
It
yeah,
reminds your body how to heal itself.
right, right. Now, out there in Colorado, they do a lot of, or at least this is sort of the rest of the world, we hear this. There's a lot of people that have, untreatable depression, and they have turned to something like psilocybin. Do you have any take on that?
Not really, if
I
that works
mean,
for them. So
okay, okay, I got you. I got you.
I am in favor of supporting people with what works for them.
Mm, mhm,
And Western medicine can be said, oh, but it works. It makes it go away.
mm,
Yes, it makes a person function.
mhm,
But when it comes to these more chronic issues, it creates side effects and it will further down the path show up. We can only suppress things for so long. It's like
mhm,
if you have a big dam and you're holding it back and it just keeps getting stronger and stronger and stronger, eventually it's going to burst
mhm.
and it's going to become a problem somewhere in the body.
Sure,
So,
sure.
in yoga, spiritual healing, and Ayurvedic medicine, you asked in the beginning, what ties them all together? Another
Mhm,
thing that really ties them together is their ability to prevent issues further down the road. Another thing that
mhm,
ties them together is the ability to prolong life, to give greater life quality, to enhance lifespan.
mm, mhm,
And the way we do that, if a 40-year-old person comes to me, we're going to look at how to balance. There will be a need to eliminate inflammation because it's impossible to live in our modern society going to restaurants and eating the food that we
mm,
eat
Mhm.
buying the food and the groceries, the stress, as we've talked about, and all the pressure that is going on in society. There is inflammation. It has to be eliminated. It can be diet change, to eat a diet that is not creating inflammation helps. But the
Mhm.
inflammation is already there. So it is requiring some herbs to help eliminate it. It's requiring some kind of gentle detox that is compatible to the strength of the person to
Mhm.
eliminate this inflammation. And in yoga and Ayurveda, we have some really amazing cleanses that work very effectively, very safe.
Wow. Yeah, that inflammation thing, that's bad stuff. That causes what? It's like oxidizing the cells, causes you to age really bad.
Yes, it
Causes
does.
you to age really poorly.
How do
And then I
how
guess,
old do you think I am, John?
oh, I my grandmother told me to never guess a woman's age.
Bless your heart. Well, I want to tell. Can I tell?
Absolutely. If you want to let the
I
cat out of the
celebrated
bag.
my 50th birthday.
Oh wow, congratulations.
Thank you so much. And so a lot of people they think, "Oh, Heidi, but look at your skin. It's so soft. How do you keep
Right.
your skin like this?" Well, I gotta say, it's a combination of a lot of things.
Mhm.
But for the last 30 years of my life, I have been focused on cleansing my body a little bit every single year
Mm.
with
Mhm.
herbs, with some kind of cleanse and pure diet, oil treatments to
Mhm.
lubricate the body. So if you're sitting there watching and you're wondering, oh, how can I prolong my life? How can I get rid of some wrinkles?
Mhm.
There is face yoga that will help. There is
Okay.
oil treatments. So nice oils like an organic sunflower oil or coconut oil, those are very safe when they're organic. And then start massaging before you sleep at night. We have
Mm.
these amazing pressure points on the body.
Mm.
And stimulating these pressure points with the oils will help to invigorate the skin, but also the whole presence
Mhm.
of the
Mhm.
body, the bones and the muscles and the fats and all the tissues.
Wow.
And so, one self care practice that is so amazing is to massage the whole body with oil for 15 to 30 minutes before showering or before taking a bath.
Okay.
Or just doing some oil massage before you sleep at night, sitting in bed and just massaging it in. Shea butter is
Mhm.
really nice as well to massage in with. And then use
Okay.
some essential oils. So
Mm. I
lubricating
like
the
the way
body.
those smell.
Yes, exactly. So what is wrinkles? It's dryness.
Yeah, the collagen
So,
disrepair and all sorts of stuff,
mhm.
right?
And in Ayurveda, it's the Vata dosha, the air. Think about the wind, it dries things out. And that
Mm.
is
Mhm.
what is increasing as we age. So the more oil treatments, the more healthy oil, healthy avocados, walnut
Mhm.
oil, a little coconut oil, taking a little bit on a regular basis can really help to
And drink plenty of water.
lubricate. Yes, that too. Staying
People
hydrated
don't drink
is
enough water.
incredible. Yes, very, very much.
That's it. Wow. Okay. Hmm. Yeah, I'm learning so much. Learning so much. Incredible. Thank you for all your little tricks here. So, um, soul alignment.
Yes.
That's a whole other thing, right? So, what does that actually mean?
So you can call it soul, you can
Mm.
call it higher self, you can call it
Mm.
spirit, you can call it your
Okay.
all knowing intelligence,
Hmm.
whatever you feel comfortable with, that you resonate with, that is the juicy part within you that's really, really
Hmm.
is you. When you
Right. Okay.
strip away all the limitations of the body, because eventually the body is going to decay and it's going to die, right?
Sure.
That's reality on this planet. So if we strip away all what is limited, thoughts
Hmm.
are limited, the mind is limited, all that has to do with the body is limited because it's going to die. But If you have ever had a deja vu experience, how
Mm.
is that possible if there isn't something else? If there isn't something more?
Some people
If
say
you
that's a glitch in the
believe,
matrix.
yes, exactly. And if you're Christian and you believe that that Jesus did what he did and that there is a God,
Mm, mhm.
then you believe that there is something more than the body.
Right, right,
And
absolutely.
that something more is within you.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, Jesus said so himself. Like, though I have to go, I'm going to send a helper, and that helper will dwell inside you. Um, the Holy Spirit, I call it, and not just me, but that's how it's always been taught to me. Is that's the Holy Spirit, and um, it, just fairly recently is when I started to realize that it's not a separate thing. That is me, in fact. That I am both the good and the bad, and
Yes.
uh it's I guess that, like, and I've kind of contemplated that if more folks would just understand that God lives in everybody, right? Or you call it what you want, the Stoics call it the logos, but lives inside of everybody. And our simple command was to love God with all of our heart in Christianity, right? So that would mean, and then to love your neighbor as yourself. So it really makes perfect sense to love God with all your heart, because they have God inside of them, and you're supposed to love them just the same. And they have the exact same needs as you on the hierarchy scale. There's no difference from person to person with what they need in their life. I think that if we could just get outside of our own heads, which is to say, my needs come first, that if we were to see that other people had those same needs, then we could probably all get along a little better too.
Yes.
Instead, we live in this competitive world where if somebody has something, then it's almost like they feel like it's completely a limited resource, that there's no more of it in the world, so nobody else should have any. Instead of, and I grew up with people who were like, oh my gosh, they got a Mercedes, who do they think they are, kind of person, right?
Mm.
Instead of going, wow, they got a Mercedes, that's really great for them, like maybe one of these days I get one, but I prefer to have a big old pickup truck, or whatever, just whatever somebody's into. um that's really interesting. So if have you had a moment yourself where you felt completely misaligned, and then how'd you manage to get back on track?
Yeah. Which example shall I share?
Yeah, right, right. The older we get, the more it happens.
Because the way my personal experience is throughout my entire journey. So I started this so-called spiritual journey
Hmm.
30 years ago, and that was at an early age. So most of my life, I have been a so-called seeker.
Hmm.
And so, what am I seeking? I have been seeking, call it enlightenment, call it liberation, call it unity, call it samadhi,
Hmm.
some some extraordinary ecstatic experience where I get to the experience that I am more than this body and this mind. Now,
Mm.
drugs can do it. Have I done some drugs? Sure.
Hey, I'm not
And
gonna lie. Like I did some my self-administered psilocybin therapy according to the manifesto of Terrence McKenna, and I swear it changed my life.
and so yeah, with the right intention, and you asked earlier, so
Hmm.
with the right intention, and that is, what is the intention? So to tie it all together,
Hmm.
we're not going to be tying it all together because it just drew completely blank in my mind. There is no one tying it together. Every single person's journey is unique. And what
Mm.
worked for you, what worked for me, is not going to work for somebody else, most likely.
Sure.
The
Sure.
key is that we honor our experience. So I've lost everything.
Hmm.
I have uh, I have been seriously ill. I've been in
Hmm.
car accidents where I almost died. There was a split second of surviving. I have risked my life in some horrendous ways. As a teenager, I was lost in thinking I could find love in sex and was
Hmm.
addictive to all of that. And so
Hmm.
I have gone through some extreme things, but where
Certainly.
I can love myself through all of it and have forgiven myself for all of the times when I have lost myself
Hmm.
has I can see now, why did I put myself in those situations? Sure, ignorance. Sure, the being lost and not knowing any better and all of that. And ultimately, whatever it is that puts us into an experience of being lost
Hmm.
is that it gives that soul aspect, that Holy Spirit within, that all knowing guidance, intelligence within, the opportunity to guide us into the opposite, like the
Hmm.
yin and the yang. We
Right.
have we have the good and we have the bad within us. It's all within us. And so we go about and we create experiences so we can
Hmm.
get this full rich experience of everything that we are. And
Hmm.
for me, having chosen this path of a healer and a practitioner and a holistic Eastern doctor certified level at that,
Hmm.
then in order for me to gain insight to people's problems and troubles and struggles and disorders and sufferings and pains and so forth, I have to experience it myself in order to have the insight about it.
Certainly. Certainly. Yeah. Um, the suffering shows that the light is there, really.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And so ultimately, the way that I look at our existence is that
Hmm.
we all have times within our timeline, a really, really great, grandiose timeline of that Holy Spirit that just is
Hmm.
impermanent, everlasting, limitless, never ending
Hmm.
stream of consciousness. There was a time when it was completely united with the divine, God,
Hmm.
whatever you want to call it, divine light. And
Hmm.
when everything is light, how can we experience what we are if it's all light? There is nothing
Sure.
to forgive. There is
Right.
nothing to create
Right.
friction. There's no trouble. There are no rebels. There's
Right.
none of that.
Right.
And it's like,
It's almost
how
mechanical at that point.
exactly, and how boring it eventually gets, right?
Right.
You have
Right.
to watch
Oh
the
man.
same movie all over again, over
I
and
I
over.
remember I remember this one time I was asking, it's like, so when we get to heaven, what are we going to be doing? This is a Baptist preacher I asked, and he says, well, we're going to be singing hymns to God for forever and ever, all eternity. And I was like, man, these hymns are boring, so I don't know if that sounds fun to me.
Exactly. Oh my gosh, right? Why
Yeah.
don't people
So
just go and meditate 5, 10 hours a day anymore?
yeah, right. There you go. There you go.
Right? Yeah. So
So um
we are creating the friction. We are
mm,
creating from the dark side for very
mhm,
specific purposes because it gives us the opportunity to experience the greatness that we are.
mm, I like that.
So there's
I like that.
purpose to all of it.
Right. Right.
Yeah,
Unbeknownst to us, a lot of times, what that is. So that's something that I try to help people find is at least a purpose. I mean, because you can have many different purposes over the course of your life,
absolutely.
but if you don't have any purpose, then you're bound to end up depressed. You're bound to end up unhappy. You're bound to end up in these situations that, well, you just don't want to be in because you want something better for yourself. But if you're not focused on a mission that is most likely helping somebody else, then chances are you're going to end up in that dark place that you didn't want to be in. And then you're going to be on the Zoloft and you're going to be on the whatever antidepressant, Cymbalta, whichever one's being advertised right now, the doctors get a kickback on, all that stuff. Ooh, with this election, we're going to have a new, like that Kennedy is going to be in charge of making things better, supposedly. So, do you have any thoughts on what should happen with our American food supply if Kennedy, pushes it or whatever? I just know that he's real big on the holistic stuff. So we'll hope that something happens.
So let's take our
Mhm.
power back
Okay.
and not give our power away to those in charge.
Certainly.
Because we all have so much we can do to make
Mm-hmm.
a difference. So here's a technique.
Mm-hmm.
When you are in your expanded state, so just get that sense that we practiced earlier, that you can take
Mm-hmm.
up your space and
Mm-hmm.
shine the light. So you become a bigger sunlight, a greater frequency, a greater vibration, a greater
Mm-hmm.
activation. Now, just imagine all the great leaders, including the president, including Kennedy, including all of the senators and all the governors and anybody you can think of that are having some powers over others, that have great control. Just put them into a huge container right now. And now you can take your hands and just play with a little bit of energy, imaginary energy ball between your hands, and just imagine that you have this container in between your hands and you're holding all of these great leaders in your healing energy, in your focus of energy, imaginary energy ball. And now you are creating a ring of mirrors, a whole ball of mirrors all around this container. And the mirrors, they are pointing inward. So every single thought, every single idea, every single ruling, every single anything that it is that the leaders they want to initiate. If it is not for the greatest good of humanity, the mirrors pointing in are going to reflect that ill intention.
Mm-hmm.
And who is going to benefit from that ill intent? Only
Mm-hmm.
those within this energy ball, this bubble
Certainly.
of these mirrors.
Mm-hmm.
So you set that intention. Your intention is very powerful when you expand yourself and you align yourself with the greater source energy of love and light and unconditional
Mm-hmm.
love that makes you very powerful. And your intent is very powerful. So you set the intention that they are only able to make rulings for the greatest good of the greatest good of all.
Mm-hmm.
Only those rules are able to penetrate the mirrors. Anything, anything beneath or less than that is only going to hurt or benefit those within that bubble. So that is a technique that empowers you instead of if you are not somebody that supports the Kennedy and
Sure.
the
Sure.
president and so what in the
Right.
whole political scheme of things,
Sure.
then
Sure.
don't think don't give your power away to them, because when we are afraid of something, we give that which we're afraid of, we
Mm.
give our power away to that. And
Certainly.
then
Certainly.
when we give our power away, we weaken ourselves, and
Mm-hmm.
there is imbalances that is created with that weakness. So instead,
First thing I
let's
thought when you
empower
said put them in a box was like put them in a box. I think I'd like to shake them a little bit.
Well, the mirrors will do that for you. The mirrors will do that for you, and you won't be tying into the whole law of cause and effect of call it
Sure.
karma and call it whatnot.
Fair
So
enough.
you put yourself neutral and objective,
Right. Okay. Mhm.
and you just set the intent that whatever they are projecting onto or making humanity do, and
Mhm.
if it is lower than what it is for the greatest good of all, it's being mirrored back.
Mhm.
It's a beautiful practice that is not tying you in with your judgment or criticism or belief systems or fears or anything like that.
Certainly. Okay. That's wild. Yeah. I've never thought about that either. So that's very interesting stuff. Wow. So we are past an hour now. How about
I
it?
figured we would be, but we could be
Yeah. Yeah.
talking all night, John. I really enjoy
Oh
talking
yeah.
to
Yeah.
you.
It could very easily go that long for sure. For sure. So do you have anything that you would want to tell somebody that they could simply start right now with? Like say today is the day, the moment is the moment. What would you tell that person today?
Start loving yourself more.
Mm,
And if you're stuck in diagnoses from the doctors, if you're stuck in the groove of pain and suffering, you may not hear those words to love yourself. It may not mean anything. Then find somebody that you trust. Find somebody that resonates with what you believe in. Find
mm.
somebody that you feel can help you in some way. And find the courage to ask for help.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Really appreciate that. So we can talk it for another moment here. I'm going to pull it out and sort of say my goodbyes and get us offline here. All right. So stand by. Well, here we had it. We spoke with Dr. Heidi Nordlund, and she gave us some incredible insight on a whole lot of stuff. So, any questions that you have, please refer to her website. Um, which, where did I put that? Let's see. I want to make sure I say it. So, her website, which is, I've got it right here, HeidiHealing.com. And be sure to check her out over on Facebook, give her a follow, all that. Also, I'd like to mention that I have a mindset workshop coming up soon, and I'm going to let you know exactly the date when it's completely confirmed. And later on this week, we're going to be talking with Dave Gold. And also, let's see, who are we talking to Friday? Friday, I have two people, so we'll see what that's like. Just tune in. I'm going to put a poster out. You can catch us then. Thank you for your time. Please like, subscribe, and if you have any comments, place it right here. All right. See you next time.